I think the worst and best experience was the incident that happened not long ago where a dude got his ass beat for peeing on people. What? Last week, I made a video talking about my terrible experience to go see the Demon Slayer movie, and it, for some reason, blew up. Apparently, there's a lot of you that's had the same experience that have agreements, disagreements towards my reaction. What I want to do in this video is one, go through some of your experiences and also do a quick deep dive on what actually took part into the film when I was watching it. So without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, I really want to thank you guys for crossing the 100 subscriber mark. When you're a very small YouTuber, it's very easy to compare, you know, your page to others. Like, I mean, I look at it like, if I can't be grateful about my subscriber count now, then I can't be grateful in the future, right? So I really got to thank you guys for, you know, liking my content and, you know, deciding to subscribe. It means a lot, you know, and it helps me keep going, right? So I really appreciate that. And I'm excited to continue the journey with you guys and, you know, make as much content as I can for you. So again, thank you. When I came back from that movie theater experience, I wasn't even like thinking, oh, this should be a good content idea. Like, that's not even what came to mind. I was just like, what the fuck was that? And I need to talk about this to somebody. All right. I mean, might as well put it on YouTube. And it was a very unexpected result that happened. I mean, you know, it's probably my best performing video, and there has been a lot of people from everywhere commenting on the situation. You know, the topic of should kids be allowed to watch R-rated films, their terrible experiences that they've been having with kids as well too at theaters, and just a plethora of other situations that have happened, and, you know, people talking about that there. So it was really cool to see that this is something that, you know, is a topic of discussion. So what we're going to be going through today is some of the comments in the last video. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. A lot of these are hilarious. A lot of these are people attacking me. And, you know, it's really funny to see the discourse in the comments. Okay, so first one that we got, someone said, I had a guy with his 2 kids and his daughter was the one correcting them. Her brother took out a tablet and started playing a game with sound. The dad had a flash notifications and took a phone call. She kept shushing them and I felt so bad for her. It was so frustrating. That's crazy. Like, when the child is the grown-up in the family, that's embarrassing, right? This dad, like, I already know the kid, right? But the dad literally not giving a fuck and taking a phone call in the middle of the movie is extremely inconsiderate. And I'm just like, that's fucking crazy. All right, like, that's wild. I also feel bad for the girl as well. Like I said, there are some comments on here, there are people agreeing, and then there's just some dumbass comments that I'll see as well too, right? So let's look at this one. This guy said, not for nothing, man, but if it was that disruptive, you should have told them to quiet down, and if they kept going, then you get someone from the theater. People need to bring back shaming shit behavior. Luckily, it didn't happen to me either of my 2 screenings for my Demon Slayer, but the last time I did, it was when I went to go see Star Wars Episode 8. This couple brought a newborn who obviously started crying. After a while, I couldn't stand it anymore, so I loudly shushed them, and when I did, a whole bunch of others joined and the dad took the baby away. Public embarrassment is a powerful thing. Bro, if you watched the video, I literally told you that I yelled at them, okay? Like, they did calm down at the end of it, but in the beginning, I gave them benefit of the doubt. I was just thinking, all right, they'll probably quiet down later on in the movie, but it's my fault for not yelling at them in the beginning, right? But I gave them the benefit of the doubt and did it damn near 20 minutes before the movie ended because I didn't know how long it was gonna go. That movie was long as hell. And, you know, it quieted down, but there were also people that went to get the staff The staff came in, and while they're coming in, they literally looked around. The kids made noise, but they didn't do anything. Right? Like, if the staff is not gonna fucking do anything, what can I do? I can't put my hands on anybody's kid, and all I can do is be verbal and say, you know, quiet down and shut up, right? So that was the situation there. The staff just didn't care. Okay, I mean, and I agree, shaming is definitely something that can be a tool to have some structure in those films and prevent people from behaving that way. All right, but that's that. So this person said, I think the worst and best experience was the incident that happened not long ago where a dude got his ass beat for peeing on people. What? This is crazy. I've never heard some shit like this in my life. Like, this is some crazy shit. They said, I saw it on Twitter. It was amazing. The music in the background, the beating of someone who 100% deserved it. That was tranquil to watch. Yeah, that would be satisfying as hell. You really have to think about, wow, there's just people out there that aren't real. Like, there just can't be people that are actually real human beings, right? I mean, they say like NPCs. This is an example of an NPC. Like, there's just no way there's someone that crazy to do some shit like that. And him getting his ass beat, I would have been in there too, because there's no fucking way, bro. There is no way. One thing that I really do appreciate is there are a lot of kids out there that are mature and understand, you know, common courtesy, public decency, and respect to, you know, the people you're around, right? And I really appreciate those kids because they were in the comments and apologizing for the behaviors of other children that don't have that common sense, right? So for those kids that commented and just apologize on their behalf, like, don't apologize for something that you're not responsible of. All you can do is control what you can do, and the more of you guys that, you know, understand that and have grown up with those beliefs, you know, the better off we're gonna be, right? You know, but I really appreciate you guys, you know, just taking the fault of, you know, that younger generation and just apologizing for that. And it shows a lot of maturity and that we do have some hope in, you know, the future generations. Okay. Dude, I have been fighting FOD year about parenting. Rated R is FOD, adults, and M for adults only. This is why rating system. This is one of my favorite comments. He said, bro almost turned into Akaza. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I've never been that angry, like, in that infuriated in a setting before where I felt like I was seeing red. I'm so serious. It was that bad because just the lack of awareness and just the fact that they didn't give a fuck. Like, they didn't even contemplate, like, am I being too loud, or, like, you know, am I disrupting the others around me? Like, I knew that they wouldn't even think about that, and that's what pissed me off even more, right? To the point where, you know, they say these hands are rated for everyone. Like, it would have been that situation, right? But I mean, you know, we're not trying to go to jail here. Someone said, I had an almost similar experience. There was one group in front of me and they, I don't know, couldn't stop using their phones. Anytime something happened, they would open IG and use that as a story. If nothing much was happening, they would just chat with full brightness. It was honestly so annoying. I didn't tell you guys, but there was literally one of the group of the kids that were in front of me was literally recording the movie and vlogging. Like, she was literally vlogging the entire experience and talking and recording. And I'm like, there's no fucking way, bro. Like, there's just no way. Recording the entire movie, I'm like, wow. We're so cooked, bro. We are. Here's another one of these dumbass comments, right? LMAO, complain on a video on a bunch of screaming kids in the movie theater. You should either move or sit far away from those screaming kids. Okay. So basically, get up, go take somebody else's seat, and try to avoid screaming kids that can be heard throughout the entire theater. You know what? That honestly is a great idea. I should have done that. Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you. Okay, boomer. Guys, the funny thing about Gen Z is the fact that after the age of 30, just consider yourself half in the grave, okay? Like, just consider yourself, you know, docile and you're old as hell, all right? Just start a will and start thinking about where the assets are gonna go, because Gen Z thinks that after 30, you're dead, okay? I'd even go as far to say that after the age of 23, you're considered OG, you're old as fuck, okay? So that's just the thing about Gen Z. You know, back in the day, they used to say 50 is the new 30 or whatever it is. But Gen Z is the opposite. Okay, 20 is the new 60. That's the situation with them. All right, so you're old as hell in their eyes. All right, after the age of 20 years old, it's a wrap. Okay, this one had me screaming because I could absolutely feel the anger that was exuding through this comment. There was a baby crying during when I was watching Demon Slayer, and the parents made it worse by shushing their baby loudly, and that's all they did. All caps is crazy, all right? And that's how I know this person was living that PTSD again, all right? Having all this message in all caps. A lot of the comments that I got were, you know, people kept bringing their babies, all right? So this is the situation. I personally, at the end of the day, that's your child, okay? You expose your child to whatever you want to expose your child to. Me personally, Demon Slayer was violent enough that I would probably prevent my kids, if I had any, from seeing something like that till they're a little bit mature, right? I would say probably, you know, getting to the late middle school, high school range, because at the end of the day, kids are gonna see fucked up shit on the internet, right? You can't even prevent that, all right? So that's the thing. They're gonna see shit that you can't prevent them from seeing regardless, right? And Demon Slayer is what I would say would be the least of their worries when it comes to that. However, bringing your child, you know, your babies to the film where there's a high likelihood that they're gonna cause a ruckus, start crying, right? If that happens, that's your fault, okay? If your baby is a quiet baby and literally doesn't disturb anybody throughout the entire movie and you've trained them to that point, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, you better be damn sure, because if you risk fucking up that experience for the people that went, you're 100% at fault for that, okay? You're 100% at fault. If you took that risk, you better make sure that you can mitigate the problems associated with having a baby in a film like that. Okay, so that, you know, that's just my stance on that. Just make sure they don't fuck it up for everybody else. If they can control themselves, great. Man, same thing happened to me last week when I went to the movies to see Demon Slayer. Two girls sitting next to me spent the entire movie commenting on anything and everything. Whenever Tomioka, Akaza, and Muzan appeared, they would just go crazy with their glazing. And it was so annoying. You know, those types of kids who feel the need to explain everything that happens in the scene? Honestly, it just pissed me off. That was happening in my theater too. Like, they were glazing the hell out of Akaza, you know, Muzan, because, you know, their appearance. That's just expected, right? I think they do that on purpose to appeal to the female gaze, right? So that's expected, right? But yeah, like, it gets very annoying when you're commenting literally every fucking second. And I'm not lying when I say these kids were making a comment every 3 words in the movie. Like a background commentating on this film. I'm just like, all right, bro, this is fucking crazy. I watched it for my 16th B-Day. No one was disrupted, but a family walked in with 2 kids that couldn't be older than 7 or 8. And I was just wondering why the hell they brought 2 literal fetuses to an R-rated movie. Like, bro, I mean, at the end of the day, if those babies, like, they're not even fucking watching the movie, all right? Like, I don't mind them taking a space or whatever. Like, just make sure they're not fucking disrupting anybody, right? So when it comes to babies like that can't even comprehend what they're seeing, like, or let alone, you know, watch it because they're literally laying in a car seat, it's like they're not even paying attention, you know? So that's the situation with that. I don't even know how the fuck these teens got into my theater, but they were burping and farting and wouldn't shut the fuck up on anything that wasn't an action scene. I wanted to beat their asses, but I remembered I have a wedding next month and I don't want to go to jail. Facts. I mean, like, it's, yeah, I don't like kids can invoke that type of anger where you want to put hands on them. Okay, it gets that bad. Like, that annoyingness that they can invoke out of you gets to the point where you want to put hands on them. All right, but you have to control yourself. Okay, you have to stay strong. Here in Canada, they were yelling 6-7 and other things, trying to be funny. They were talking so much, someone was even saying the manga spoilers behind me. People were recording certain parts of the movie, and during the credit scenes, all the kids started getting up. Man, that's the thing too, guys. The entire movie going through, these kids start saying 6-7. I didn't know anything about 6-7 or that fucking meme on TikTok till after this experience. I'm like, why the fuck do they keep saying 6-7? What the fuck is this? Like, in the back of my mind, like, this gotta be some viral meme on TikTok or something. There's just no fucking way. All the kids, after someone would say 6-7, would, you know, follow with another 6-7, like, and just repeating it throughout the entire movie. And when they said that shit, when Akaza killed 67 people, that's when all hell broke loose. They all started shouting and screaming 6-7. It was just the most obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life. That's where I blew up and literally told him to shut the fuck up and yelled that shit. I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, you can't let this shit slide. There's just no way. And, you know, in my other video, when you guys watch it, you know, I explain a little bit in there, TikTok is to blame for this. Their brains are being rotted out every second they're on this app. And I couldn't have been more happier if they deleted TikTok for good. I'm so serious. It's slowly killing, you know, just the functionality of our brains and children, you know, for the future, right? It's the worst app possible. This one is crazy as hell. Actually, weirdly, with this franchise, I have opposite experience. I still 100% understand yours. When I went to the cinema, it was a draw with two kids and two looking like 10 years old Russian girls. They all were quiet during the movie except the dad, who at one point out of nowhere pulled his phone looking at an OnlyFans video for half a minute, and I was worried he would keep it longer. Then behind me was a group of 7 men and 1 woman, and the men in their 30s most likely were literally repeating the lines of characters they were saying in parody abridged version and laughing at themselves. At one point it became bad until my mom gave them a weird look. I'm also an adult, so in our screening it was 11 adults, 4 kids, and the kids were at their best behavior when I went to watch the Garfield movie, though. Yeah, those kids were the worst thing in the cinemas. In Dragon Ball Superhero, adults were appropriate and only went on Bulma's ass scene and Gohan powering up into beast mode where they jump up and down. Sounds like to me you go into a lot of movies and there's a lot of gooning happening, okay? I'm sorry that you gotta go through that experience, right? Like, the dad going, you know, gooning in the middle of that is just crazy to me. But you gotta expect that from anime. They're always, you know, doing the fan service, right? So it's just, it's one of the things about anime. But nonetheless, that's crazy as hell. There's absolutely adults that also have zero home training, okay? Don't get that mixed up, all right? In my caption, you know, my experience just happened to be like all kids, okay? But I absolutely understand there are adults that have zero home training and behave in that same manner as well too. And, you know, it really is a conversation to find out, you know, what can we do to prevent, you know, these situations happening across the board, all ages, right? But I absolutely understand, like, this is not just a kid thing, but it's a lot more likely, in my opinion, you know, for kids, but it definitely involves grown-ass people too, okay? That's it for now. You know, there was a ton of comments. I might do another one. I mean, if you guys do want me to continue going through, you know, other people's experiences, I'll be happy to. But yeah, you know, I really appreciate the support on that last video. It means a lot, you know, and it helps me, you know, stay encourage. Side note, guys, I am gonna go see Demon Slayer a second time to hopefully redeem the experience that I lost the first time. I'm definitely taking some advice of going later at night to prevent, you know, any type of kids fucking it up for me, because it is going to be tough to stay up at that time. So yeah, and following up that, I will make a video on my full review on that, just talking about, you know, how I truly feel about the film and just really get into a deep dive of, like, you know, what this means, right? So stay tuned for that. Again, appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time.